I thank the member for Mallee and call the member for Richmond.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I rise today to speak to the horrific findings of the Royal Commission into Aged Care's final report and this Liberal Nationals government's shameful legacy of neglect when it comes to our older Australians. This report and its 148 recommendations makes it absolutely clear Australia's aged care system is in crisis. Make no mistake, this crisis is due to the severe funding cuts of the Morrison government. The fact is, this government has completely failed our older Australians, and so many locals have told me constantly this is a heartbreaking national disgrace, and I agree with them. The Commission heard that 20% of Australians living in aged care are receiving substandard care, and that about 50% of those living in aged care are malnourished. And we know that 685 older Australians have tragically died in our nursing homes due to this government's mismanagement of the pandemic. Now, this is a government that's made savage cuts in the aged care sector. $1.7 billion has been cut from aged care. And because of these cuts under the Morrison government, more than 100,000 people are now desperately waiting for home care packages. And many older Australians needing high-level care are now sometimes waiting up to 3 years. This is disgraceful. And because of these cuts, we've tragically seen the death of nearly 11,000 older Australians who are waiting for home care in their homes. In the past year, 11,000 have died waiting for that care. And shamefully, the wait for older Australians to enter residential care has now increased to 148 days. This is a desperate situation. And the Royal Commission heard so many stories of terrible neglect, heartbreaking stories about malnourishment, about mistreatment, untreated wounds in many people in nursing homes. And this government's legacy is disgraceful. It is completely unacceptable. Our older Australians deserve so much better. And we've got to remember it's our seniors who built our nation. They worked hard, paid their taxes, raised their families, contributed to their communities, and in their retirement they must have access to health and aged care services when they need them. And so many groups have called on the Morrison government to act, but they just completely ignore it. And it just seems so many times that everything that this government is responsible for, they just refuse to take any responsibility. Well, I'll say this to the Prime Minister and his government: aged care is your responsibility. It is a federal government responsibility, and you must act. Indeed, as one of the commissioners, Commissioner Biggs, has said from the Royal Commission, the government must step up and embrace its responsibilities for aged care. I'd also like to take this opportunity to commend our aged care workers who do an incredible job in our aged care sector. They need more pay and they need more support. Let's never forget the crisis in aged care is due to the Morrison government's severe funding cuts and willful neglect.
I thank the member for Richmond.